What's up, y'all? It's Venom, and I'm back with another one-on-one conversation. Now, what I'm going to be discussing today, it does cover sensitive topics. If you're sensitive to like trauma or whatever, then I advise you to stop watching this video, go watch another one. So this video was inspired by a couple of videos I watched on the YouTube channel, Psychology with Dr. Anna. And those videos were about estranged parents. She talked about, how they perceive themselves as like good people, good parents. They always try to play the victim. They say a lot of things about their kid, when in reality, the parents made it hard on the kids. Let's just put it that way. I want to offer my perspective on it, because I'm an estranged child. I cut my mom off in September of 2022. I'm going to discuss what was happening before the estrangement, how I managed to pull it off, and what happened after. First off, what was going on before? Some of this may sound familiar from my previous one-on-one conversation video. I'm probably going to bring it up again. I'm not operating with a script. My mom was always very distant from us, from me and my older brother. What she would do, aside from taking us to school, getting clothes on our back, roof over our heads, fed, all that, she didn't really bother to raise us. Like I said in the last video, we grew up poor. She didn't work. She relied on child support payments, welfare checks, food stamps, all that. A lot of government assistance, which with her was a nightmare. If we weren't at school or whatever, she would always like stick us in front of a TV, just toss us a couple of toys, and she would tell us to not bother her while she was watching her TV or whatever. If you're a parent watching this, you need to be involved with your kid, especially in those early years, where they're starting to learn the world, they're starting to learn about themselves. They need to learn how to control their emotions, how to navigate the world. That's something that school and TV cannot help them with. You need to take care of that, which my mom didn't. She always had violent outbursts. I remember one time she was, I'm gonna call this term hulking out, where she would just go on a rampage. This happened more than once. She would like throw stuff around, break stuff, yell at us, and it was very traumatizing when we were kids, because something that Dr. Anna brought up in her videos is, in the eyes of a child, a parent can do no wrong. So, like I said in my other video, my mom, she didn't take care of like the animals and all, whatever. She didn't clean up. She would always have us do all the cleaning. Or whenever we were doing like a massive clean, she would just sit there and watch us like 90% of the time. Especially when we got older. And if something wasn't done her way, even if we find an easier way to do it, she would get mad at us. She would call us lazy. I remember this one time, my older brother, he was mopping the floors or whatever, and I guess he was using dirty water or something like that. My mom came to check on him, and she looked at the water, and she said it was dirty water, and pinned him to the wall. I don't remember what she said, but I just remembered that standing there scared. And then she let him go. She didn't like hit him or anything like that. I remember she did spank us a few times for like misbehaving. When she let him go, she turned around and she locked eyes with me. And she started coming at me and said that I was next. I don't remember anything past that. I don't know if she actually fulfilled on that. But I just remember I was scared. And I think I ran. I definitely would have ran at that time. It was so scary. There was this other time when I was a teenager, and me and my brother, we were doing like one of those big cleans in the kitchen. We were talking. She was sitting on a chair as usual. She was, I feel like I should have said this earlier, but she was like, she had a lot of weight. I'll just say that. And me and my brother, we were just joking around. And I remember laughing at a joke or whatever. It was like totally harmless joke. For whatever reason, that made her snap. And she started running at me with a broom. And of course, I was scared. So I took off towards my room. I was already at the end of the living room at this point. She couldn't keep up. But she threw the broom at me like a javelin. I didn't see her throw it, but I just remember as I was running, I hear glass breaking. And she broke the lamp that was given to us by a family friend. When I was in middle school, I was bullied a lot. The teacher saw this, they didn't do anything. I told the counselor, they didn't do anything. The principal didn't do anything. I went to my mom, and she didn't do anything. The only thing that she was concerned about, like everything else, is that I got good grades and I was picture perfect for her friends. And in that moment, I realized that she was a bad parent. I remember there was a time in the car when she was taking me to school. I wanted to say something, but she kept talking over me, and I was trying to explain to her what was going on at school, and she didn't care. And then when she finally gave me a moment to speak, I didn't say anything because I knew at that point it was pointless to try to talk to her. I remember at one point, senior year of high school, I wanted to join the Navy. You know, the school was willing to work with me on that. When I told my mom about it, she got really mad. Like, really mad. And she wanted me to not go into the military. And with everything that's going on in the world right now, I'm thankful that I didn't. I wanted to join for the money and the benefits. And I tried to explain that to her, but she wasn't gonna have it. She kept trying to manipulate me and tried to say, like, oh, the real reason why you want to join is because you want to impress your grandfather. When that was not at all the reason. So all the way up until after I graduated, I was taking these pills. So I took a pill for my depression, and I also took a pill that helped me focus. Now, that pill, it worked when I was younger, but like in the last couple of years of high school, I started to think these things, and it eventually snowballed into having a perfectionist mindset that made me really toxic to people at times. And then I was getting like auditory hallucinations, and my perfectionism got so bad to where it would literally drive me crazy at the smallest imperfection. But later on, when I moved out, I realized that those were some of the bad side effects that you definitely don't want when taking that pill. And my mom knew these symptoms, of course. She's the one who told the doctor to prescribe me that medication. And when I was telling her about these things, she flat out ignored me. So in essence, she was poisoning me with this pill. Now, how did I do it? Technically, I've done it twice. The first time was shortly after graduation. I was still hell-bent on joining the military at that time, and I made a plan with my grandfather for me to move in with him in Arizona so then he can help me get into the Navy, because he was in the Navy as well. So we came up with a plan. We were having some troubles with like a light in the kitchen. My grandfather said that he would come down and fix, and at that same time I was going to move out. I told my grandpa that, you know, she would get mad if I was moving out, which she would be. She really didn't want me to move. She wanted me to be close so then she could keep an eye on me. I didn't want that. I wanted freedom. So my grandpa comes down, and at some point my mom has to go take care of some things. She hops in her car, goes off, and that was like the perfect time for me to grab my stuff, put it in my grandpa's car. And so I did, and then my grandpa made an excuse. Was like, oh, he needs to get a job. Nobody else is helping him, so I'm gonna help him. And my mom reluctantly agreed. I mean, there's not much he could do. He told her that he was going to do it. And that was enough for her to let me go. And off I went. And after I got my documents sorted, I told her I don't want to talk to you anymore. She told me that I was a horrible person and that I'm a bad son for choosing this. And then after that call, I blocked her number. But the thing is, with living with my grandpa, it was worse living with him than it was living with my mom. He pushed me way too far, way beyond my comfort zone. I mean, stepping out of your comfort zone, that can be a good thing at times, but going way too far all the time, that's unhealthy. And he did that all the time. And there was this one point where I was riding my scooter down this one street. I was blinded by a car light, and I hit a curb, and I was flung off my scooter. And I fractured my wrist, my elbow, and I dislocated my collarbone. And I called my grandpa through a stranger's phone because I didn't have a phone with cell service at the time. And he picked me up, took me to the hospital. They had a look at it. They didn't see the dislocated collarbone. I figured that out on my own. But they told me what was wrong, put a splint on me, and then sent me on my way. And then, like, the morning after, he told me that I did not get a broken bone, when there was clear evidence that I did. He practically tore off the splint, and it was very painful to use this arm. And I don't even think that it's healed properly to this day, because sometimes it hurts when I use it. But one thing that really gave away that I dislocated my collarbone was that I could not get my arm past this point. I could get past that point now, but I could not get it up here. I was feeling around here, felt that it was like, it's right here. But when I was feeling around here, my collarbone went down here, which is not normal. And I was like, oh, that's not wrong. That's wrong. That is not right at all. And my grandpa saw this, but he didn't care. He thought I was making excuses. So how I was able to reset it, I put right here against the door frame. I would rotate, and that helped it move. And I just kept doing that until it got to the point where it is now. And once I got to where it is now, I got my range of motion back. But as time went on, it left a big bruise right over where it was. But at that point, I just couldn't take it. And I told him, hey, I want to go back to my mom. But at this point, I hated him. I was an emotional wreck. And it was all too much for me to take in all at once. Just being fresh out of high school, not knowing anything because the school system failed. We just kind of haphazardly threw my stuff in the car, and he drove me back and just tossed everything out and drove off. And I barely talked to him. You know. So when I came back, my mom was obviously mad, and she even told me, if you do something like that again, you're not allowed back in this house. After that, I was able to get a job at a warehouse in San Bernardino, and then like almost a year later, I was able to transfer into the one that I currently work at, which is in my hometown. It was around 2022 where one of my friends from middle school got a house. And I told him, hey, I'm in a really bad spot right now. Can I move in with you? And he said yes. So as we were working on this plan, my brother came in and looked at my screen and saw what I was doing. And he was supportive of my decision. But he wanted me to do it under his circumstances. He wanted me to set the move date 2 weeks before the original date. And if I were to not listen to him, he would tell my mom the plan, which would completely ruin it. So I kind of had to listen to him. For the date that I chose it because my mom and my brother, they were gonna go out together to my aunt's place to sign something for the house. And that was the perfect opportunity for me to slip on out. There was one point where my mom pissed me off, and my brother also pissed me off on like this one day. I was like, you know what? I had enough. And I set it back to the original day. Before the day came, my mom didn't give me a specific time when she was leaving, so I kept asking her. And I think she knew what was going on, because on the day that it was going to happen, she told me that she was like proud of me, which she has never said in her entire life. And she told me I was a good kid, which was the first time I ever heard that from her. Out of all the years and all the times that she told me I was a bad kid and I should be better when I was still learning about the world. I remember the last words that she told me before she left was, don't forget to do your chores. And I purposely did not do my chores that day because it wouldn't matter either way. I was asking a bunch of my friends who had cars, like, hey, can you help me move? And almost all of them said no because they were busy on that day. Except for one friend who just barely had enough time to help me out. And as soon as my mom left the house, I sent her a text telling her, okay, you're clear, come down. And she came down, we threw my stuff in the car and drove off. And I was home free. Now, what happened after? When I finished unpacking, I sent a text to my mom saying, I moved out, I'm not coming back. And then I blocked her number. And then I sent a text to my brother saying, I moved out, do not contact me again. And I blocked him as well. And that was technically the last I ever heard from him. My aunt would give me updates on what was going on with them if I asked. So the first thing I noticed when I woke up on that day was how quiet it was. I wasn't yelled at. The second I got up, there was no dogs barking, no cats meowing, no fan on the floor spinning loudly. Pure silence. And I loved it. But it felt weird. And I even started cleaning up out of habit because I was so used to cleaning up the place when I was younger. So my mental health as time went on got better, but it didn't come without any setbacks. I started having flashbacks to what happened to me. I had dreams of my own home, which I still have to this day, and I don't want to remember that place again. But I remember one time just bursting into tears thinking, how can somebody as horrible as my mom and my brother living and not getting any justice? There's nothing I can do about it now. There's nothing I could do, but they're out of my life. And I've never been happier. It did take some time to heal a bit. Moving out of there really did open my eyes to what the world is, what I was able to do, all of this stuff. I've met some of my favorite bands. I was able to go play airsoft, which I wanted to do since I was a freshman in high school. I was able to do so much because I wasn't held back. It really did give me a new lease on life. And to this day, I do not regret my decision at all. That's going to wrap it up for today's one-on-one conversation. I hope this video provided you with some insight. And if you're currently struggling, I seriously urge you to go seek some help. Talk to family members, friends, see if they can help you out if you're in a tough situation. You are not alone. If I was able to pull this off after years of thinking I was never going to escape, you can do that as well. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you later.